Hello and welcome to the European Conservatives monthly news show Inside Brussels. However, this time we bring you a special episode from Strasbourg from the European Parliament's first plenary session after the summer break. The greatest highlight of this week was supposed to be a fiery debate between MEPs and Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán after his speech presenting his vision for Europe. Sadly, however, the speech and the debate had to be postponed due to the severe floods impacting Central Europe, but luckily for us, the plenary did not pass without excitement. For example, Commission President Ursula von der Leyen finally revealed her portfolio distribution in the incoming Commission. For the first time ever, the European Conservative and Reformist Group, the ECR, got an executive vice presidency to be held by Italy's Conservative candidate Raffaele Fitto. This is a significant step forward to the right that angered many of the leftist lawmakers who may yet challenge this decision. At the same time, the even bigger Patriots for Europe group, the third largest group in the European Parliament, but surrounded by the left's undemocratic cordon sanitaire, ignoring the will of thousands of Europeans, were not allowed to a top position in the Commission, similarly to what happened in the European Parliament that we discussed in the previous episode. We asked MEP Kinga Gál, the first Vice President of the Patriots, and Elisabeth Dieringer from the Austrian Freedom Party about von der Leyen's new Commission picks, as well as how she blackmailed countries into changing their male candidates for females. So the Patriots don't have a vice presidency, but the ECR does. Even though the Patriots are under a clear cordon sanitaire, do you still consider this as a conservative victory in general?
No, not at all, because we are a really huge group of people, the Patriots, and it's our right also to have a vice president.
I would consider a general conservative success or a success on the right if the Patriots would have got the seats which to the rules, the inner rules of the European Parliament should have been allocated to them. It's of course about votes of the members, but normally it's a procedure, inner procedure, and according to the size of a group, are reflected in the composition of the presidency of the parliament, as it is reflected in the composition of the presidencies each committee. So in this case, the answer is what has been done with the Patriots being somehow disclosed from the possibility to get to the seats which should be allocated or voted in, as I say. I think it's a very clear picture about how those who always teach and preach us rule of law don't keep their own rules of procedures, their own statutes. Like in my case, in the Committee of Foreign Affairs, where because of the gender balance, my fourth vice presidency was not given to me as it should be, but even contradicting the gender balance clause was given to a man of the EPP. And with this, when we raised this case, they immediately came up with a conference of presidents exception, made an exception on this case. So whenever it comes up, the gender balance and how does it look like in the European Commission, my answer is that maybe you should clean your own courtyard first, because the gender balance is not even kept in our committees if it's not welcomed because of ideological grounds.
So what do you think of von der Leyen's strategy to ensure gender equality in the Commission by pressuring member states to swap their male candidates to females?
I can't accept this as a proud woman, because I don't want to be part of a strategy. I want to be what I am, a woman who is able to represent and to have her own position.
Are there any portfolios or commissioners in particular that might be in concern to you?
Oh yes, I guess there are a lot of them that we can't accept, but let's wait and see what the next month will bring.
But there were other topics on the agenda that MEPs discussed this week, including increasing social media censorship, combating terrorism and illegal immigration, and fixing Europe's competitiveness. Mario Draghi's recent report on the latter divides opinion even on the right, as he called for the EU to take on massive joint debts while transferring further powers to Brussels to effectively invest those funds. While Draghi identifies the problems, his solution is even more Europe and intervention that could indeed cause for some to worry. However, there's little disagreement about the fact that boosting Europe's competitiveness should be one of the main priorities in the coming years. We asked Patriots MEP Herman Tersch from the Spanish Vox Party to explain his group's approach. The biggest topic of the plenary was the Draghi Report on fixing Europe's competitiveness. What is the Patriots' position on it and the solution it puts forward?
I think it's not the Patriots' position, it's the position of everybody with common sense sees in the Draghi Report there's a good diagnosis in the sense it's a catastrophe what is happening in Europe. And the Draghi Report says it very clearly. I mean, it's a disaster. We are poorer, we have less freedom, we have less competitiveness. We are losing in every issue in the race with other continents. No, I mean we're seeing the U.S. and Asia developing, and we are lacking behind and hanging behind continuously. And every time we are slower, and every time we are worse in performance. And that is this regulation jungle that they have constructed here, which is an absolute disaster. And this combination of the People's Party and the Socialist Party doing socialist policy and green policy, when the Greens and the Socialists have lost the elections, but now we are insisting in more socialist and more green policy, as we see with the Spanish commissar, which is a kind of radical eco-socialist, which brings only harm, and it will insist in all the things which Draghi says which are wrong. But then the solutions from Draghi, they have they have no sense. I mean, this kind of common debts in these fantastic figures and so on, that is not even to debate.
The other debate about the danger of terrorism posed by uncontrolled migration was prompted by a recent attack in Solingen, Germany, during which an illegal migrant who escaped deportation killed 3 and wounded 8 others, leading to a massive public outrage against the government's asylum policies. The German AfD party was represented by Mary Kahn, a new MEP who made a fiery debut on the podium.
Since there are thousands of women have been victims of foreign rapists. There have been countless terror attacks which have torn families apart. And Solingen was the sad culmination, a further sad culmination of all this. Casualties, and it was done by an illegal migrant. And that is because you want to have multicultural slogans on your flags and at your public festivals. These are people who died because of a policy where you let everyone in, where no one is deported, where the people in our countries are prey. Now, von der Leyen, you and your commission are responsible for Solingen.
During the debate, you said that Ursula von der Leyen is responsible for the Solingen attack. What did you mean by that?
With this topic because I'm now in the Liebe Committee, and now there are their discussion about to give Frontex more money. And what I mean is that actually 5 or 10 years ago they have to give Frontex more money to prepare also the people over there and to protect our borders. So this was the issue.
How we should change the EU's migration policy, and what can member states do if Brussels is unwilling to cooperate?
I also said in my speech that this is also a national topic. So I'm from Germany and from the AfD, and we also went to our election to our people that we want to decide our own who can cross our borders and who not, and who have to leave our country. So it should be a national topic, and this is also a big agenda that I will, to bring in the next years more to the people.
Based on the recent elections in Germany, it clearly shows that the people had enough, and now even the mainstream parties are promised to stop illegal migration. Do you think that we can expect a genuine change in this regard?
It's just symbolic, because also I think 1 week before the election in Thüringen and Saxony, I think it was 28 people from Afghanistan. They brought them back, they remigrate them, but each of them they got €1,000. So this was actually just symbolic, and they only did this because of the election time. So I think we will get 30% at a Sunday, and we will see how we can change something. But East Germany will be somehow the key also for our future, for whole Germany, because from there the people, they are more sensitive about what is going on.
The idea to increase social media censorship against whatever Brussels deems disinformation or hate speech was also a continuous issue. We asked the ECR Group's Steven Bartolika from Croatia whether we should be concerned about the future of free speech in Europe. During today's debate, you've been focusing on censorship on social media. What concerns you most about the EU's DSA regulation?
Well, obviously the potential abuse of power. So I'm very concerned that self-appointed censors will be deciding what Europeans can read and what kind of views they can express on social media. We learned in a very bitter lesson from the COVID pandemic that muzzling people and not allowing for a diversity of opinions on a controversial topic is not good for democracy. So what I said earlier today, we can't save democracy by killing it. We have to protect fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech. The exposed letter from Thierry Breton to Elon Musk basically shows the state of play here in Europe. So they do not believe in freedom of speech anymore. They have an agenda, and as a conservative politician, I'm very concerned.
What can MEPs practically do, in practical terms, to counterbalance the DSA's anti-democratic measures?
Well, speak up while we still can. So the lesson from totalitarian regimes in the 20th century is that once people get used to abusing power, there's no limits to where they can go. So it's a very painful, as I said, bitter lesson. We have to work together, like-minded people, people who still believe in fundamental freedoms. I consider all liberal-minded people allies if they really believe in this. The left has abandoned freedom of speech. They don't believe it anymore. Some of them admire China and the mass censorship that the Communist Party does in China, and they're trying to introduce that here in Europe. So I will use my platform to speak very broadly about this. Before Elon Musk bought Twitter, they were removing content stating, for example, the biological fact that there's only men and women. This was removed on Twitter before Elon Musk bought the platform. It's ridiculous how far this can go.
Another event that shook up European politics right before the plenary was the legal case of Matteo Salvini, Italy's deputy prime minister, for whom prosecutors asked for a 6-year prison term for not allowing an NGO ship full of illegal migrants to dock at Lampedusa 5 years ago. The Patriots Group called an emergency press conference to address the issue, as well as to express their full solidarity with Salvini, saying that he's being only prosecuted for fulfilling his obligations in protecting Europe's external borders.
Those who defend European borders, which is actually an obligation from the side of member states, are being threatened and sanctioned. The protection of external borders is an obligation, as I mentioned, and it's an obligation of the officials of the member state also, because otherwise we won't be able to keep functioning the Schengen system at all, which we also witness nowadays. how it is jeopardized. So first, Hungary was punished with an unprecedented fine by the European Court for protecting its borders, external borders of the EU, and not allowing masses of illegal migrants to enter the country and the European Union. And now we see Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini facing a 6-year prison sentence for not letting an NGO boat full of illegal migrants dock at Italy's ports in 2019 as Minister of Interior. Our Patriots Group position is clear. The EU's external borders must be protected, and NGO ships have to be stopped from transporting illegal migrants to Europe.
So here we're talking about a decision of the legal system which wants to judge a political decision which is anti-democratic. So really this is leading towards a government of judges. The responsibility of Mr. Salvini and his government is a political responsibility. It's not a criminal responsibility. And who is to judge the responsibility, or the political responsibility of a government? It's not judges, it is the people. The people through elections.
As patriots, maybe we should launch a campaign together after Charlie Hebdo. There was the Je suis Charlie Hebdo campaign. People started reading Charlie Hebdo. We should maybe say, noi siamo Matteo Salvini. We are Salvini.
Like others in the group, Herman Tersch highlighted that Salvini's case impacts the entire Europe, and the Conservatives cannot let this become a dangerous precedent for further intimidation from the left. The Patriots had held a press conference earlier today on the persecution that Salvini faces in Italy. Why is it a European issue?
It is a European issue because the borders of Italy are a European issue, and because the threat in whole Europe is there, and we are being invaded. And now they want to criminalize the people who try to frame and to defend our countries and our borders, and they want to state that it's an example what they want to do with Salvini, and we have to be, all of us have to be very, very strongly in defense of defending our borders, defending our people. I mean, the security is collapsing in Europe because of this invasion, which is not only tolerated, it is promoted by socialists and by the People's Party. And we have to be totally against that, and we have to regroup, and we have to defend all the forces that want secure borders and which want the nations inside Europe to be secure, have to pull together on the same string to defend ourselves.
Mr. Rimsky, during the press conference, jokingly or not so jokingly said that the Patriots could organize a campaign which could be slightly similar to the Charlie Hebdo campaign, that the Patriots stand with Salvini. Do you think the Patriots could, how could the Patriots, I would rephrase the question, how could the Patriots help Mr. Salvini from Brussels?
Well, I think everything what we do in favor of Salvini makes sense. I mean, I think we have to be in Piemonte, we have to be in Rome, and we have to be demonstrating our solidarity and our position all over the places. But the thing is, we have NGOs who are criminal and who really work as criminal networks with the human traffickers, and they are part of the human trafficker network, and we have to fight them. They have to be in jail. They have to be prosecuted. No, Mr. Salvini, who was defending Italy's borders from these gangsters, this leftist kind of organizations who work like gangsters, really.
Thanks for being here with us, and stay tuned for further episodes of Inside Brussels.